Mixed drinks for the mixed feelings. Big cribs with them big ceilings. Big plays with them big names and them big buildings. That's big business. Hit 10, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane. Make hits like King Griffin, a 10th inning.
It's a very special episode 14 of the 10th Inning Podcast. First episode between Dan and myself in person. And we have a very special guest. Dan, do you want to give a little intro to our guest here?
Sure. I mean, this guy is none other than the snubbed Rookie of the Year, by the way, for the Christmas Spectacular. A performance grade in his first season. In fantasy baseball talk, he is Didi's nuts. Okay, a Didi Gregorius lover and a 3-time champion, or 2-time.
Maybe 2. We went back and forth for a few years.
Me and him went back and forth in the regular fantasy league, winning fantasy series championships. I'm sorry. And now he is a big factor in the Fantrax, our Dynasty league that all three of us are in. I believe he came in third place.
Third or fourth. It was, fourth. I think you took me out in the first round of the playoffs.
He made it to the semis. I of course won the whole thing. But
he's the commissioner.
You were just hot. You were just hot at the right time. You cheated. You fudged the numbers, but I don't know. It's actually great to see the strong competition we have in the league now, which is a lot of fun. It used to be just you and me back in the good old days.
That's all it was. Funny you say hot because I do have a rebrand coming for year 2, but we'll talk about that later. But Matt, is there anything that I didn't say right? Introduce yourself the rest of the way.
No, that's me. I'm Didi's nuts. I'm also AKA Matthew. Depending on what you want to call me, how close you are to me. Usually the people closer to me call me Didi's nuts. But yeah, former Didi lover, kind of still a Didi lover. I am still a Didi lover.
Can I kick him?
No, when you think about Didi, you think about 2018, 2019. It's tough to really talk about Didi the last couple of years.
In his defense, it hasn't gone too well for the Phillies. So I mean, I do see where he's coming.
Well, the problem was he's on the Phillies. That's his biggest problem. But he still holds a lot of space in my heart.
That's beautiful.
That was wonderful. By the way, fantastic hat. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love your hat as well.
Thank you.
I'm not wearing a hat, but I think I wore one last week, so I didn't want to. I'm not a 2-week in a row guy. I'm more. These things are more so me right there. That's my thing. He happens to be in my screen, but those are for me. Sean, I'm going to ask you to do something. Could you normally when you start, so I'm Sean, this is Dan. I never got my intro.
All right, that's fine. I'm Sean, he's Dan, and that is a damper that for odors. It sucks up the odors, which is quite necessary when Dan is in any room. Anyway.
I have a lot of objects to choose from today, so that's what I went with. But thank you for being here for it.
Damper.
No.
I don't know what to say. Do you want me to say anything?
No,
speechless.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to do, speechless. So, want to get right into to our Dynasty League teams here?
I guess so. I guess that's the best.
I feel like we should let the guests go first. We're a very gracious podcast, so.
Please. So how are we doing? You want me to share a screen? We're doing
Yeah. Do you have share screen capabilities, or I have to give you those?
You just take them. You run me through. We could talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could talk over it. You got this.
Of course. I don't think I'm even sharing my screen.
We'll have to edit this out here.
Guys, it's not being edited out. You're watching the whole thing because he said we. Now you're watching the whole thing. So congratulations. Blame him for the waste of your time. Here we go. Now we're all getting our screen shared.
All right. I see it coming up. So for the 6th year in a row, I think I'll be Didi's nuts. I think this started in 2016. Whenever Didi was really good.
I do remember a time, I think it was 2018 or 2017, where I was playing Matt in the championship and I beat him. And on the last day of that week, I changed my name to Didi's Nuts as a little bit of a ploy. So I did win a championship as Didi's Nuts at one point, but it was only for a day.
It's just rude. It's just rude. All right, so yeah, you want me to walk you through my team? Any specifics you want to talk about?
Go position by position, or like starters, and you go to your reserves.
Mhm.
But give us a little explanation, maybe why he's on your team, I guess, or why you like him.
Mm-hmm. So you really want the ins and out of my team. So just when the rest of the season comes up, yeah, you'll know everything that I'm thinking. Perfect. Okay, we can work with that. We'll start with catcher then. Catcher's a really shallow position. I mean, if you didn't have Salvador Perez, I hate you, Dan. Then you had your catcher was probably just as bad as Sean Murphy has been the last few years. But yeah, I like Sean. I mean, he's more of a defensive catcher. He's got a lot of rookie potential. I mean, he is 27. I actually didn't realize he was that old. But a catcher's just a hit or miss spot for me. I think I focused more on a couple other positions as you'll see as we go down. But yeah, Sean Murphy felt like a solid option. Didn't know Jan Gomes was going to be taking his time. Matt Olson, obviously, he's just fantastic. We share the same name. Brendan Lau, solid second baseman. That position's also a little shallow. I think like Ozzy's a big one. And there's a lot of second base shortstop. I feel like I keep naming people on your team, Dan. I don't really like that.
Well, the top 3 second basemen in the league are Ozzy, Trey, and Max Muncy, but they're also on the team.
Okay. Jose Ramirez is, for some reason, not talked about enough in MLB, and he's one of the best players there is out there. He doesn't look like it, but he steals so many bases, and he's so chubby in the face. It's adorable.
I mean,
so much
be that chubby, that cute, and steal 30 bags with and that short and cute and hit that many homers. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Power, speed. He should be. I'm praying that he gets traded off the Guardians so I can actually watch him and enjoy him this year. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Say again.
I'll say if he didn't play in Cleveland, he would be a much more well-known guy.
Yes.
Or recognized for sure.
Maybe he would have made that MLB All-Star team or whatever the hell it's called. I just found out about it this year. I don't even know what it's called. The all MLB team. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Tim Anderson, shortstop, another. I think in the draft I kind of got a little late with picking a shortstop, but Tim Anderson's a really solid option for a lot of years. For some reason, he doesn't want to walk, but he likes to hit for average. Ryan Mountcastle, I have a deep connection to for some reason. I went to college in Baltimore. I needed one Oriole on my team. It was that or cancer-ridden Trey Mancini. But then I made an agreement where I let him take Trey Mancini, and then I took if he didn't take Ryan Mount, even though he wasn't going to take Ryan Mountcastle. But it was nice enough that
I let him. Pre-draft discussion where I said, Matt, I really need you to respect my love of Trey Mancini, and I respected his love of Ryan Mountcastle, which was a beautiful thing, honestly, for 2 top teams.
Yeah. Nick Castellanos, for some reason he's been slept on for a while. I think once he hit that home run that changed the internet, that's when I fell in love with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm trading him away, I'm trading away like a brand. Luis Robert or Ramirez, however you want to say it. He's a 5-tool player. I'm hoping he stays healthy. Young would be great. Nick Magical, I just traded away. I don't want to see him anymore. Ty France, I just traded away. I don't really care. Jazz Chisholm has really cool hair. That's really it. Matt Chapman can play third base. If there's defensive stats, he would be the top 2 fantasy player. CJ Abrams is hopefully he does good one day in like 2026 or something like that. I don't know how much he's going to be doing. Randy Rosario is the best ever. Reese Hoskins is a Philly, so that sucks. Luke Voigt is I had something to say about Luke Voigt, and Kyle Lewis is a Mariner. And the Mariners are looking like a fun team next year. So any questions so far, gentlemen?
None from me.
I do.
Of course, always something to say.
Said Randy was the greatest of all time, and as far as I'm concerned, he was on the trading block all day yesterday. Let me get rid of Randy. I need to get rid of Randy. This guy.
No. I love Randy. You know what? Maybe I came off the wrong way. I'm trying to say that I can give you Randy. I just think he's a lot of value right now. Rookie of the year. He's just gonna get better.
Right.
He's also on the Rays though, and as you can see, I'm wearing a Bronx shirt. I'm a Yankee fan, so it's really hard to like anybody on the Rays. But I do also have Brandon Lau. There's too many Rays on my team. Whatever, it's fine. Pitching, Garrett Cole. He's pretty good. Hopefully the sticky stuff doesn't hurt him. Logan Gilbert's up and coming in Seattle on that fun Seattle team. Lucas Giolito just got traded away. Nate Pearson, hopefully one day he won't be hurt and he'll throw 105 again. Michael Kopech, eventually he'll be good. I think he's getting the starting rotation for the White Sox this year, which could be fun. Corbin Burns, reigning Cy Young, NL Cy Young. He's pretty fantastic. Mr. Cortez is the cutest to ever do it. And then I just have a bunch of, and then Luis Heel. He's whatever. I think he was just like a late pickup at the end of the year because I needed somebody to start some games. Casey Mize will be great one day, maybe not. I have no idea. Aaron Nola is going to have a bounce back year, I can tell you that. Zach Plesac is the son of, what's his name? Other Plesac?
And Plesac.
Yeah, there you go. That's it about him. Noah Syndergaard is I was really hoping he'd stay on the Mets so I could trade him to Sean, but I guess not. Adam Wainwright is old, but he's still pitching, which is pretty impressive. And to completely contrast that, we have Clark Schmidt, who will never pitch in a Yankee uniform again, and Sixto Sanchez, who will also never pitch and then will be, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, that's
I really hope. I'm just being cynical. I really hope so. He was fantastic in the 7 games he pitched in 2020.
And as you alluded to, there was a couple trades that went down yesterday. We had our winter meetings, which of course Sean wasn't at because he's a piece of garbage.
I had a prior commitment. I apologize.
However,
that was the prior commitment. Whatever. So
Matt had a trade that went down. So go talk about it, your kid.
Yeah. So I mean, this was a trade with another Yankee fan. He was giving up. He had a lot of outfielders. And I needed some like a strong outfield presence, which I don't know if Stan is a strong outfield presence, but I was going for Stan. And somehow I got to sneak Key Brian Hayes as well. I mean, 24-year-old third baseman for the shit Pirates. Oh, excuse me. Can I curse on here?
No, fuck yeah.
But these poor Pirates, he's I didn't even realize it when I was trading, but I really wanted him more than I want Stan. I want Stan for like the 1 month where he hits like 10, 15 home runs. No. Like 20 home runs in a month. I'm looking to slot him in when that happens. But somehow I got Key Brian Hayes too. And I feel like I didn't give up too much for that at all. I mean, Giolito's a really solid pitcher, but I think in the long run, the Stan Hayes is going to be nice for my team. What do you guys think?
I definitely thought, I came out and said right away, I think you won the trade.
I agree. I think you
but there were people who thought that Leaf won the trade, which was interesting to me, but that just shows that people value different players differently, which is interesting. And also,
I think you want to finish? Sorry.
No, I'm good.
I was going to say, I think that it depends on how you look at Ty France. I mean, he kind of had a breakout year last year, and he plays a couple positions, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. It just, I guess, depends. If you value Ty France kind of on the same level as Key Brian Hayes, but in 3 years, Key Brian might be 10 times better than Ty France.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm looking at.
As we discussed on, I think gotta be one of our earlier podcasts, maybe, I don't know. When we went over the awards and stuff, I guess with the first podcast in the off season. We discussed how Key Brian Hayes almost basically got snubbed at a Gold Glove, and he played like 60 games. I mean, this guy racked up stats. I know defensive stats aren't perfect, but I mean, he was. I don't think Arenado's going to have a shot next year. This guy is insane. Even if you look at some of like the highlight tapes, he is an athlete at third base, like an insane fielder with a crazy strong arm as well. And a lot of times, at least for me, I feel like that translates when you have. I know for Matt Chapman, it hasn't exactly, but he has had decent offensive seasons.
Yeah, that's true.
When you're an elite level athlete like that, you're just going to figure it out. And I think at worst, Brian's going to be an average bat. So I do think a starting bat. I mean, like a good starting bat, even in a fantasy league. So I think you'll do well with him for sure.
Yeah. I see what you're saying about the translating over. You feel like someone like Arenado, obviously he's fantastic at third base, but he still hits real well. Same thing with like Story. I like Story there, but Correa probably is a better example now with the shortstop defense and being really good at the bat. Hopefully, Q Ryan sticks around. I mean, and hopefully maybe one day the Pirates will be good again.
No.
They have to re-sign McCutchen. That's what they have to do. If they want to be good again, they got to re-sign
To
McCutchen.
grow the
Yeah.
dreads back.
He's the
Well,
head.
they come together. He gets re-signed by the Pirates. He grows the hair back. Hits 40 bombs.
There you go. Get a Marte Parte back.
Parte.
Yeah, get Starling Marte while you're at it.
That'd be a filthy outfield. A prime Andrew McCutchen, a Marte Parte, and Brian Reynolds. That'd be a pretty filthy outfit.
I got a question for Dan. What team is the Marte Parte on right now?
The Oakland Athletics.
Mets.
Oh, the New York Mets. That's right. Holy shit. I
I
try and block that out. It's so
I don't think
bad.
we covered some of the or oh no, we did cover some. Yeah,
We covered
that
Marte.
one. Yeah.
It's completely. You asked, and I was like, not on the Marlins.
Yeah.
I thought, God, the Mets. That's terrible.
World Series champions. No,
So
that's never gonna happen.
He's screwed. Sean, I'm gonna just grab the charger real quickly, but you start on your team. I'll be listening.
Okay. Now you got the shared screen, so do you want to just go to mine so that everybody can see it, or? I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable.
You count on the computer stuff. You're great at this. You're great at this computer stuff.
Yeah. Needless to say, I will be changing my name before this starts. It's not very original, but yeah, to start off, to go with what Matt was saying, the catching position is very, very thin. So I decided to go with the veteran presence. Yeah.
You did say that, yeah.
I decided to go with Yadi Molina, future Hall of Famer. Obviously, I think this year's going to be his last year, so I'm going to have to address that. But I'll get into who I think is going to take that starting spot later as I go down the roster. Now, my first base position is Vlad Guerrero Jr., who hot topic. Everybody seems to want him. No one really seems to present me a offer that
I sent you about 15 ridiculous offers.
The dude's 22. I want to see. I know later you guys are going to talk about that, but
yeah.
the dude's 22 and just put up an MVP level season.
I mean, it would take a lot for me to trade Vlad Jr. It really would. But anyway, he is the anchor of the lineup. Now, the second base position, a very controversial figure, especially for you Yankee fans out there. Jose Altuve, still a hell of a player. Yeah.
He's still good. He's still really good, and he's like 5'2".
He's a midget. Yeah. So he obviously, between him and Vlad, they are good duo right there. And then at third base, I got Yohan Moncada, who has started to really show his promise that he's had since he was a top prospect in the Red Sox organization. And I forget the trade that sent him over to the White Sox. What was in that trade? Was that Chris Sale?
Had to be Chris. Yeah.
Now, shortstop, I got none other than Fernando Tatis Jr.
How do you have Tatis and Vlad on your team? What is?
I don't know. I just
It's
What was I doing? What was I doing when I was drafting?
Vlad fell to the third round.
Yeah, he fell.
But he also went in the third round early. At that point in time, it wasn't falling. People were iffy on Vlad. Remember, Vlad was coming off his second year and hadn't worked out yet. So
he was chunky, but that's what made him beautiful. Now he's chunky and beautiful. It's like all together.
He seemed like he could be a quote-unquote bust, but that's why you can't give up on players at 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give up on Kellnick for 3 years.
You can't give up on.
Out in 2 years. You never know.
I mean, I guess it was a risk, but in my head, I was willing to accept that risk because I didn't necessarily foresee the season that he just had, upcoming, at least this early in his career. But I knew that with his age 22 season, he had a lot left in the tank. And then from what am I on now? I'm still on Fernando Tatis Jr. Yeah, what else you got to say? Fernando Tatis Jr., also 22 years old. I value the, as does anybody else, the young age with the high upside. Obviously, he was injured a little bit last year, and he kind of tailed off towards the end. But, yeah, one of the best shortstops in the game, hands down. Now in outfield, Ketel Marte. You want to say something?
I do. I have a question for
Go
you.
ahead.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. First off, he's got outfield eligibility now. I think that's kind of filthy for you because shortstop is one of the deepest positions right now, And if you could grab
That's
another
true.
shortstop, let's say like Trey Turner or something, like for a Vlad or something. I'm just like
No,
spitballing ideas.
Just throwing someone
If
out
you
there.
could move Fernando to the outfield, it's so much flexibility. But additionally, like he's one of those weird characters where he makes so many amazing. He's such an athlete. He makes so many great plays at short as a cannon, but at the same time, he had like the most errors at shortstop.
He did. Yeah.
So almost like a Javi Baez situation. He had a couple of years like that Javi did, where he was like, the eye test is like, this guy's making crazy plays, but he's also making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So do you think he makes more mistakes because he gets to more balls and they look like errors because he's so athletic, or do you think that he is just immature and makes mistakes and he's not going to stick there?
I think it's. I mean, it's always a little bit of both, but I think it's the majority of it is from the fact that he has a really good range and gets to balls that a lot of other shortstops may not.
It would just be hits and not
Yeah,
error.
exactly. I think he suffers from that. I only put him in the outfield. Didn't go great. It was a small sample size. And when you take a guy who's a shortstop his whole life, put him in the outfield, it's a bit of an adjustment. But yeah, no, it definitely does make him more versatile as far as making a lineup, to switch him into either shortstop or outfield. But I have a feeling going forward he's going to be the shortstop for the Padres. That's just something I think is going to happen.
He's only 22.
Yes. And he's already this good. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you can only go up from here, really.
No.
No. So outfield, I have Ketel Marte, who's also a versatile player as far as position-wise goes. Second base and outfield. I really like him. I think he's a very undervalued player.
I love him.
Very undervalued. I guess because he plays for the Diamondbacks, so kind of to go along with what we were saying about Jose Ramirez in Cleveland. It's not a big market. The team kind of sucks, so they just don't get the notoriety that they should be getting. I really like him. 28. He's definitely on the younger side at least. Now, do you have a qualm here?
I don't have a qualm. I have a couple statements. I like to speak a lot. First thing, when Starling was on the D-backs, oh my God, the double Marte Parte, and then it lasted for all of 60 days maybe, but it was like the greatest.
That happened. Oh my God.
It was a double Marte Parte, and then they canceled it. But it was like the best thing that ever happened in the world.
It was.
And other than that, Ketel was like, he had that breakout season, I guess, 2 years ago, and people were wondering if it was real or not. Remember, he hit like a bunch of homers and stuff.
He did.
But so that was probably why you got him undervalued too. Another good guy to take a chance on. And I actually remember I was really high on Marte probably like 6 years ago when he was coming up with the Mariners as a shortstop.
Yeah.
I think I had Marte in a regular fantasy league probably 5 or 6 years ago, whatever his rookie year was, as a shortstop.
Wow.
But I gave up on him probably 4 years ago after 2 years where he was very light hitting, but more defensive. He's really grown into himself, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something I was looking at with players that I valued maybe more so than some other people did. And he was definitely one of the players that I think that fell in the category of. Now, the next outfielder I have it's near and dear to Dan's heart. Michael Brantley. The man just hits.
Yeah, professional.
I don't know what his voice is. I don't know what he sounds like, but he's just an outstanding hitter. Doesn't strike out much. He's our kind of player. Obviously, 34 years old, getting up there in age a little bit, but he just keeps producing in spite of him being on the worst team that baseball's ever seen. I'm a big Brantley guy. Now, the next guy had quite a postseason for the Atlanta Braves, Eddie Rosario. Got to be honest with you, when I picked him, I didn't really think he was going to necessarily be my starter. I got him more of a bench player, but obviously he had a really good year last year. On a 1-year deal, it was very much a prove-it deal. So we'll see moving forward if he gets a long-term contract that affects his production in any ways. But I was very pleased with this pick. Absolutely pleased. Couldn't ask for much more.
Another underrated guy too.
Yeah, very much so. And speaking of underrated, I have him on the utility slot here, but he moves around quite a bit. Justin Turner, Ginger Jesus, as Dan affectionately calls him.
He's 37. Wow.
Yeah, no, he is. He's up there in age.
He was on my team. He didn't get drafted, by the way.
You
No one drafted him. He went on
37. I mean,
He was on the Mets back in the day, and they released him. He didn't do well for
I
him.
picked him up for like 2 weeks and then dropped him for Edwin Rios, Dodgers third base prospect. But Edwin Rios is long off my team at this point too. But I'm pissed I dropped him. I mean, when he plays, when he's on the field, he's literally all-star / MVP type. He's like Tulowitzki to a point. But so much better because he's got a red beard.
Absolutely. And eloquently stated that one. So to go off of my, no, you can talk as much as you want. To go off of my bench here. So back to the catching position, it's pretty piss poor. Carson Kelly, I basically got him at the end of the year because I just needed. What are you doing over there?
I just mouthed Salvador Perez. I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have said anything. That's my bad.
Carson Kelly, I basically needed a catcher to play, and I picked him up. Really, I don't know what else to say. He's a good defender, I believe. I don't really know much about him, to be quite honest with you. But the other catcher on the roster is Adley Rutschman. Has yet to make his debut, but he's one of the top prospects in baseball. I can pull it up right now.
I think he's number one, but
he is.
I think he's number one too. Yeah.
Estimated ETA in the majors of next year. Baltimore really needs him.
I think he might start the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't Baltimore currently not have a catcher on their roster?
No, they got rid of who are they using? Pedro Severino. They shipped him.
Severino got. He's on a yeah. You got.
So back to the whole first time manipulation. I guess they're gonna forego it. Yeah, but I have high hopes for him. Number one prospect in baseball. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can get a really good core of Vlad, Tatis, Rutschman, and maybe some other guys like Ketel Marte. Some other little glue guys. Throw it in here and there.
Trey Turner, Ozzie Albies, those kind of guys. Get them on the spot. Yeah.
That'll be discussed later. And then I have Andres Jimenez, shortstop, second baseman, younger guy who was a top prospect for the Mets a couple years ago. Basically, the only reason I picked him is he did well for the Mets. He had an okay year last year, nothing to really write home about. Dansby Swanson, one of the smoothest defensive players you'll see in baseball.
Handsome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt kid. Happy with him. Michael Conforto. He had one of the – he didn't have a very good year. He still put up,
1,100 points.
I know that was surprising. He was injured a lot of the year and didn't produce when he was playing.
That's surprising though. What could he do in a good year if he's putting up 1,100 points?
Wait, is that their projected or is that? I know there's different. Click on his name.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Wait, click on his name and we'll see what it actually is. So click. You know how to get there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little.
No, you're good. You're good. You got me nervous for a second. And go to the more section. I think go to more. That's how I usually do it. Upper right.
No, I'm sorry.
And then you go down, and it goes up a little bit. Fan points 663. That's a crappy year.
Yes, that's terrible.
Poor guy going into free agent.
Oh, this is cool.
That type of year.
Does it say anything about you and your team or no?
I don't think so.
You guys were saying
There's
a lot of stuff. Well, you can tell how many games he played for Sean, right, too, and everything like that.
Yeah, like service time. I don't know how to go understand. You can see he's been barely used. Scroll down and you can see if he's ever started.
He had just had he got injured early.
Hey, good. I don't think you put him in the lineup once.
No,
good on you, Sean. For him being a Met too, and you have the restraint not to put him in a single day.
I was never a huge Conforto guy. I just got him because I thought it was his contract year, so I thought he was going to go off.
Complete opposite. That sucks. He cost himself a lot of money doing what he did last year, or lack thereof.
Then I got Joey Gallo, who until he got traded to the Yankees was doing really well.
Amen.
Anybody who's out there watching in this fantasy league, he's on the trade block. I know the value might be a little low at the moment, but I got him. So he's out there. Another guy I bet on, Dom Smith. He had a really great season in the COVID year, and he had a really bad year this year. I think I had him playing. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I had to start.
Not that bad for Dom Smith this year.
Check how many points he had.
It was.
He's still projected 700 points for this next year. I can't imagine. Yeah, 620. All right, there you go.
I gotta say, I think me and Matt have a history with Dom Smith. Or am I remember incorrectly? Didn't we have a trade for Dom Smith?
I remember. Was it Yahoo or just a
Regular.
yearly one that we probably was it
Or we had
last year or this year?
Fall through with Dom Smith. I know I was getting Dom Smith from you. Do you remember that?
I think it might have been this year, right? Yeah.
I forget.
Didn't you trade me? You traded me Austin Meadows for like Kirilov or something like that, and then Kirilov got hurt the day after. Does that happen? Is that true? Or is that I'm thinking something else?
You want to talk about Christian Yelich, Sean? Because Austin Meadows went on to hit a home run every day of the week after I traded this Matt. He hit a home run every single day of that.
Yeah.
And I never got a single start out of any player he gave me in return. So
You want to talk about trades? Talk about trades.
Anyway, Christian Yelich, I was banking on him having a bounce back, to his MVP form. Yeah, I figured it was kind of a no lose. With all my reserves, I picked a lot of guys who I either believed were going to get to a new level or guys who were at a high level and I thought they could get back.
I'm cutting you off here.
Okay.
I just want to see Matt go for your question.
Yeah. I just don't want to interrupt you, Sean. I wanted to let you get it all out. But what do you both? This is a question for both of you. Where's Yelich stand for you guys? I mean, he literally an MVP season, and then he might as well be dead the rest of our lives.
I wanted to see where Yelich was drafted.
Oh, that's tough.
Because I didn't remember like what his thought, what we were on. It's tough to remember how he felt about players. This is where he was. I guess
I drafted.
I don't know.
Jeez.
I was able to get Vlad in the 5th round.
Holy.
So I didn't necessarily I didn't pick smartly, I guess you could say. But I somehow
in the 7th is terrible. Even like it's interesting to look back and see what it was.
Oh God.
Wow. Wow.
Cody Bellinger's 2nd round. Wow.
Why did I take Garrett Cole first? Dude, I think I must have been drinking when I was doing this.
I actually think you were.
I think I think I was, right?
You were. Yeah, you were.
I mean, I was lucky to get Jose Ramirez in that 2nd round. Then you had a bunch of sillies.
I remember being upset. I was really hoping Belly would fall to me, but I didn't think he would. But thank God, I'm happy he didn't.
I had the 1st overall pick. I don't even remember that.
Belly going in the 2nd round, and after the year that he just had, hopefully he turns it around. God bless him. Who?
I know.
Look at these Yankee fans drafting DJ LeMahieu 3rd.
Trevor Bauer. That's a tough one.
I'm just.
Oh, wow.
I got Jordan in the 7th, and to me that is filthy. When you look at everyone else, well, Sander in the 7th is filthy too, if you ask me.
Matt Gallo 6th.
I just got Clay in a trade. He was a 6th rounder a year ago. I'll take that. Even though I feel like I got shanked a little bit in that trade, but like when you look back at the value, it was a year ago. Devers in the 3rd. I'm just talking about me now. But
We're not on you yet, Dan.
I just wanted to see because I didn't know if Yelich was like a 10th round guy last year. People were taking a flyer on, or like
I don't know what I necessarily was thinking, to be honest with you. I know for a fact I wasn't drinking during it, but you could have told me I was, and I would have believed you.
But
I wish you were, Sean. I mean,
if you didn't pick him there, you would have been picked in the next couple of picks. I think was like the sentiment on Yelich is that he's going to bounce back, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he just had the bad 2020 season, right? It was 19 he won MVP. Am I wrong? 18.
He injured his kneecap at the end, but he was on MVP pace with Belly. Belly ended up winning it.
18.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But he had 2 MVP years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that commercial, Belly and Yelly? Like, whatever I can do, you can do.
And how they both fucking blow like you've never seen.
Commercial.
And I'm not sure why Eloy Jimenez is on IR. That might have been a mistake on my fault. He might have been there the whole year for all I know. I don't think he was. But anyway, another young player on the White Sox. I'm high on those White Sox young players. I like them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Gossman, I got lucky with him. I got to be honest with you. I was familiar with him, but not to the point where I was with everybody else on my starting rotation. And it worked out really well. We'll see how he does this year with Toronto. Charlie Morton. I love Charlie Morton because he always dices up the Mets. He's got an outstanding curveball. Just consistent. That's all I can say. Really is. Max Scherzer, again, consistent. What else can you say? Great pitcher, New York Met. Edwin Diaz. I'm not really sure what I was thinking here. He's got go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at your team before we started this, and I saw you. I didn't realize you had Max Scherzer. What were you thinking when the Mets signed? I know you guys talked about it, but also having him on your fantasy team and just out of luck, pure luck, him going to your favorite team. I mean, you must have been just on cloud nine. I mean,
I was very happy, very happy. And then I thought about when I draft any Mets players in any fantasy league, they would do terrible, aka Dom Smith or Michael Conforto.
mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of concern there that I might be a jinx. I have Edwin Diaz on my team here. He certified just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was very happy that the Mets signed Max Scherzer. A lot of money, but it's not my money. So I'm happy they got it.
They kind of signed Max to your team this time because like this is your team now.
Yeah,
like, it's already established.
That's true. You didn't pick up a Met. You got a Met came to you.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, Steve Cohen did that for me.
got
Edwin Diaz. Raisel Iglesias. What was that?
I always love that.
Yeah,
I think he's the most underrated reliever.
very much underrated.
Facts. That's facts.
Walker Buehler, tight pants, great guy.
He'll be on my team.
Yeah, sure you will. Anyway, Zach Greinke,
Vlad.
Pablo Lopez. I think he's the only guy picked up towards the end just to fill in a start. Frankie Montas. I'm not sure. Chris Paddock, who I remember was the runner-up to Rookie of the Year to Pete Alonso. So I thought he was going to be good. In fact, he was absolutely just terrible this year. Then he got moved to the bullpen halfway through, even though it says starting pitcher. And I also got Blake Snell, who was okay, not like he was with Tampa. He was a little underwhelming, if I'm being honest. And then Kirby Yates.
I like that.
I like Kirby Yates.
It's a filthy team, honestly. I don't know. What did you end up going last year?
I forget my exact. I didn't make the playoffs.
It was about 500, I think, right? Or a couple games under, maybe?
Yeah, I think I finished wrong. I started out the year slow because Tatis got injured a few times, but I had some guys who were out.
You can tell he didn't make the playoffs because he left Eloy in the injured reserve. Sounds like he gave up towards the end of the year. Eloy comes back August or September, and he didn't even make it off the IR.
No, it was a mistake. I mean, the same mistake I made drafting Christian Yelich in the second round of their round.
Looking at the end of your roster though, I remember tweeting like when they got Darvish, the Padres, and I was like, this has got to be the most insane rotation I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And man, this has happened a couple times with the Padres where like they sign a bunch of good players and it doesn't work out. Yeah. Like the whole Will Myers, Eric Hosmer era. That did not work out at all.
Justin Upton was on that team.
The whole they signed like 3 or 4.
James Shields,
big game James. I mean, I think they'll be better this year because I think their best pitcher is still Mike Clevinger. A huge Mike Clevinger guy. I thought that was an awesome. Was that a trade or a signing?
It was a trade.
Traded middle of last year, and then
right because Clevinger had the whole COVID. He wasn't following the rules, and the Indians.
Yeah, he went out to like a party or something. Yeah.
Dumbass.
Such a wild reason to decrease the value of your own asset. I mean, like that's like Clevinger was like in Cy Young type. He was like Bauer 2-3 years ago.
I remember like Francisco Lindor came out and said like he was being extremely selfish, like uncharacteristically, like came out and just like said it publicly, which was something I thought was really interesting.
That's when the Indians actually had a good team though, too, right? They had a pretty nasty rotation, and Lindor was still on the team, and then now look at them. They changed their name. They were so upset.
I don't blame them.
Not a good name.
No, I mean Paddock was supposed to be the future. And Snell didn't really work out. It's insane. Darvish really didn't work out that much like that.
Darvish was unhittable for the first few months, and then he just came back down to earth.
Yeah,
a little bit nutty.
Yeah.
But as I alluded to before, guys, I have rebranded. It says Team King or The King, but it shouldn't. It should say Red Hawks. Because I have officially rebranded back to what I used to call all my fantasy teams. The King. I'm not the King.
Folks, he spent about 20 minutes right before this trying to do this. So.
Do a refresh or something, because for me, it's you got Red Hots, you got the picture there and everything.
It says the King.
Maybe give it a nice refresh.
No,
are you in the last year?
Red Hots right here.
You're in the past the last season, I think.
I don't know how I did that. Yeah, so we have rebranded with the Red Hots, which is exciting. For me, no one else gives a flying shit. But you know what? It's exciting for me. And,
Feels weird.
There it is. This is what I used to call all my fantasy teams when I was younger. I don't know why. It just was a cool name. I thought it was cool. Anyway, let's get into my.
Did anybody else think it was cool?
No, they don't know. Yeah. I am the reigning champ, obviously, so you're going to see a lot of high point totals over here.
He's the commissioner, folks. Once again,
I think these are projected. I'll go to last season just so you can see what we were working with, I guess. I think this is accurate. So we got Salvador Perez, best catcher in the league, almost 1,400 points. What are you gonna do? Yeah, take a seat, babe. Take a seat.
would you be willing to include him in a trade for Vladdy?
I would.
You would.
I would. I'm throwing the boat at you tonight, Johnny.
Okay, that's something.
All right.
So, I mean, when I picked up Salvador Perez, it was because I was upset that Will Smith went off the board early. I'm honestly still targeting Will Smith. I think Will Smith is my catcher of the future.
Dodgers.
I picked up Salvador Perez because I thought he was my second rated catcher though, because he had a crazy year 2020. Coming back from injury, it seemed like he was really, I guess, rested because he's been the most, other than Yachty, the most everyday type catcher that there is in the game. There's not a lot of people that play as much as he does and control a staff, have as much of a leadership role like he does. But the offensive production this year, obviously, almost 50 bombs. I mean, it's insanity. Maxwell Muncy is my first baseman. Some people say he's my doppel.
Would you be willing to include him in a trade too?
I would be willing to include him in a trade too.
Right. Just getting the parameters here. But I might ask every single player in his team if he's want to trade him for Vladdy.
I think he will. I think everybody except for Shohei.
I think these.
I'm coming for Shohei.
There's probably 4 people that are off limits, and I'll highlight them when I tell you. Ozzy out, another phenomenal year, almost 1,500 points. Probably the most valuable second baseman in the league right now, which is awesome. But is someone that I'm considering. Only 24. But someone I'm considering, and you'll see for the most part of my roster, other than catcher and first base, I do like to keep them young because I was trying to build a future, which is awesome. Rafael Devers, just probably one of my favorite players in the league, definitely one of my favorite players on my team. I think he's the best third baseman, one of the best players in the league. Baby Siegs, I think there's a shot. I think he wins MVP this year. I really do in the AL. I think he wins MVP every year. I think when he's on the field, he's top 3-4 hitters in the game. I know it sounds crazy to everybody else, but to me, that's how I truly feel.
Yeah, he's injured quite frequently.
Yes.
Was that a big factor into did you consider that when you drafted him as your starting shortstop? Because I know he missed. I don't know how many games he missed last year or the past couple of years, but he missed a lot, at least a considerable amount of time.
I ended up drafting Trey Turner before him, but the plan was never to draft Trey. The plan was actually never to draft Ozzy either. But they kind of just fell to me as I thought it was late for them to still be there, and I went with just player value instead of what my heart was. With Seager, I didn't care who was there. I was picking Seager regardless. So the injury history, I thought about it, but it didn't. I don't think it necessarily factored into where I picked him now. I think
tough to see.
Stopping by far. In my opinion, I think there's no one close to him at shortstop.
It's tough to see the 800 points there. When you compare it to everybody else around him, it definitely stands out. How many games did he play? What is that?
Well, you take 353 and another 300 on there. I think he'd be right on pace in this area.
It's true.
Right? What's 350? That's 700 though, right? All right. So he's not 700 at best. But he's probably a 1,400, 1,500 point player. I think he's an MVP type offensive threat.
Not to have another question, but Texas lineup's pretty thin aside from him and Marcus.
Yeah.
Are you concerned that his point totals are going to drop, considering he played for a Dodgers team that had just a loaded lineup up and down?
Yeah, I mean, I think the RBI chances are definitely thinner, but he hit in the middle of that lineup. He's obviously going to hit in the middle of Texas's lineup. I do think when they got Simeon, it'll be some good protection for him. Simeon's an MVP type candidate himself the last couple of years. Well, year. By the way, I drafted him in the middle. In 2020, I took the bet on him. He absolutely didn't pan out. And then I said, this guy sucks. And then he did. But I think he'll be okay. I think Texas isn't done adding pieces either. You got to remember, like, the offseason is weirdly spread out. So we're going to have a lot more signings at the end again.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be fine. I really do think he's okay being the number one option in a lineup.
How's that the stadium look for him too? How's that lefty swing do anything? I don't know what the parameters of the new Texas field is.
Been there, so I really should know.
You've been there. It's fun.
I was like there in the first. I was one of the first people to ever be there apparently because they didn't get to play all year the year that it opened because of COVID, but they played in the World Series, and that's when I was there. It's Texas, so the ball flies pretty well, which is good. So it's still in a warm climate, but it is an indoor stadium to where they can close the roof. So I don't know. I don't think it's a positive or a negative, and I don't think enough stats are out for people to know whether it's a good or bad Davis Park yet.
That's fair.
Going forward, there's Brian Reynolds. I picked him up. I picked him up for Seti Mulls, who I dropped, which is crazy that either of them were on the waiver wire free agent list this year. Halfway through the year, I think I picked up Brian Reynolds. I think he really proved this year that he is the real deal. He's the real McQueen. Is that what they say? What do they say? The real McQueen? There's something about McQueen's in there. No? Okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
The real McQueen.
Okay.
He's a stud. 26 years old, 1,350 points. He's definitely my third outfielder, in my opinion, and someone I might be moving, but I like him. Cool stash. Juan Soto, best player in baseball. My second overall draft pick after this guy picked Fernando Tatis. No questions asked. He's going to win MVP the next 4 years straight. Yep.
Is he available?
He's not available.
He's not available. Okay. All right.
So there's been 3 of the 4 people, or I guess there's 5 people. Devers is not available. Seager is not available. Soto is not available. Yes.
Can we just appreciate that? I feel like he needed, if he had 100 more at bats, I think he started slow in this season. Juan, I mean.
Yeah.
If he had 100 more at bats, the point totals he could have put up. I mean, if he had a good team, the point totals he could have put up. I mean, he probably wouldn't have walked as much because he would have had some protection, but you put Juan Soto on any other team besides Washington, what he could become, it's just unreal. I'm so jealous.
When I think about Soto, this is the only thing I think about right here.
That's
Do you know how insane that is? Do you it's hard to conceptualize how insane that this is. That's like 160 something to 93 strikeouts. Talk about Vladdy, a guy who could have won MVP. I mean, I'm sure his strikeout to walk ratio is what? Probably 2-1 the other way, right? And I'm not even saying that's bad, but that's just like what a good hitter is. I'm going to say Vlad had 140 strikeouts to 60 to 80 walks. I'm going to go 140 to 80. What do you think?
You can check that.
What do you guess, man?
Me? I'm feeling close to 1-1. I don't think I can give numbers to it.
What do you got? 110 strikeouts to 86 walks. That's pretty good. That's really good.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What Vlad did. This is like 60 more walks than strikeouts. That's like, it's unheard of. It's not, he was the only person in the major leagues to have more walks than strikeouts. And he had 60 more. Like the level of which he's above people with discipline is insane.
Yeah.
Again,
his third year in the league too. I mean,
23.
at this point, you would have figured out how to pitch to him. It's not like an Aaron Judge situation where halfway through the season they throw the ball down and away and all he does is strike out. I mean, this guy's unreal.
Yeah. Jordan Alvarez, I've been known to be a huge Jordan guy. I think he's an absolute stud.
I'm starting to think Dan's a closet Astros fan. Michael Brantley, Jordan Alvarez. I think there's something going on here.
100%. You should wait till we get to his pitchers. I think he's got is that if I'm not mistaken. I might be.
I don't remember. We'll see. We got Shohei Ohtani. Just obviously everyone knows I'm a huge Shohei guy. I don't remember.
He's one of the guys off the board, right?
He is, yeah. and Jordan was the other one. So that was it. Jordan,
Really?
Soto.
Jordan's off the board.
Yeah, I'm a big Jordan. Shohei, Jordan, Soto, Siegi, and Devers. That's it. Those are the 5 that are off. Shohei, what can you say? I mean, the guy's an MVP caliber player. He won it. He's phenomenal. I've never lost faith in him. Okay, there's been I've drafted him every year in Yahoo, pitcher and hitter. Okay, I had a lot of faith in this guy both ways, and he finally panned out. I don't know what round I got him in. I'm sure a disgusting round for everyone else to look at, but
Don't look at it.
probably 10. I'm gonna say 10, but
Definitely really low. Yeah. Or high.
Alejandro, if you go to other and then draft, I think you got to highlight other, and then you draft results. So Alejandro Kirk, I mean, talk about a Christmas tree here. We got short, chubby. If he's wearing the powder blues, it's the Christmas tree of the year. A great offensive catching prospect. I don't know how good defensively he's going to be. 23 years old. He's got a little bit of pop, more than you'd think for how he looks. But he is my catcher of the future currently.
All right. So I did look up where Ohtani was drafted. I drafted Edwin Diaz in that round. He drafted Shohei.
What did I draft?
We draft. Let me find it. He's nuts.
I'm like 6 or 7. Who did I draft? I don't like that reaction.
Sean Murphy.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was the best player on the Shohei drafted in that round?
Okay, to be fair, Dan probably drafted Shohei before I could get to him.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I
Oh
think Cruz or Liam Hendricks were the other 2 players drafted there that could have been.
Oh my god.
You drafted Sean Murphy 5 picks before Shohei, man. just to answer your question, it was on the comeback.
To be fair, I was drinking,
Right.
so we'll just chalk up to that.
Drafted Adley Rushman.
But that's just to show how much difference like player values can change in a year. It's
This is crazy.
Anyway, Trey Mancini, the guy had cancer. Okay. He was my fantasy team name this year, right? The You Can't Mancinis was my fantasy team name. I love Trey. I don't know how much longer he's going to last on the roster. He had a phenomenal first half of the year. He actually was like an all-star type player. But he did fall off. Obviously, his body couldn't handle the whole year. He did just come off of cancer. So I do have faith he'll come back stronger next year, but we'll see with that. Brujan, another Rays prospect, kind of could be the tandem to Wander Franco. He does not have the offensive potential that Franco does, but he's very athletic. He's more of like an average type guy with, I think he could be a 40 bag, 315, 320 type hitter. Definitely got some speed. Spencer Torkelson, I'm going to say the 3rd best prospect in baseball. 3rd or 4th? I'm going to go 3rd. 4th. I was wrong. It was 4th. He got drafted last year and was in AAA the same year, which, by the way, I don't know if people know, that is unheard of. He went through the whole minor league system. He might even play next year, which is like basically a year and a half since drafted, which is insane. One of the best offensive prospects, like polished wise, that we've seen in Major League Baseball. Trey Turner, it's insane that he's on my bench. He started a lot of the year short for me because Baby Seeks was out. He's definitely on the market though, especially after what he did to the Dodgers in the postseason. Didn't appreciate it whatsoever. He didn't do it to him. He was on the Dodgers. He just sucked ass, and it was really aggravating to watch
From the inside.
Yippee doo day. I love Gurriel. He's had the yips 5 times in his MLB career, but I've never given up on him. That's a lie. I dropped him for a lot of the year, but I picked him up right before the season ended. So I was like, I can't risk someone else drafting him. He's a stud. I can't believe he's already 28, but he has so much potential. I hope maybe he's a breakout 29-year-old. I don't know.
I'm more of a Yuli guy myself. The hair and
I didn't like the whole Darvish thing.
Okay, no, I'm excluding that.
Yeah.
Excluding that. That was obviously not good.
And then we got Jared Kellnick. who I probably drafted 10 rounds above Shohei. But he's going to pan out. A lot of times when I look at prospects, there's like, I don't know, I like to watch YouTube videos on them and just see them either work out or like interviews, like to see kind of person they are. I think that's a good insight. The person.
Yeah.
He's a good person. Like he is like someone who works hard. He's got really good work ethic. Go for it.
I will say this, the Mets traded him for Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz, by the way. Also, Dan, you drafted him in the 10th round ahead of Salvi, Perez, Urias, and Otani.
I was high on Kellnick. Wow. And I think in 5 years that'll even be too low. I do. That's my hope. Moving on to pitchers. We got Mike Clevenger, who I love. I love that ad for me. I think he's going to be a stud next year. I just traded for Clay. I traded Cal Quantrill and Tyler Mahle, who are two pretty decent starting pitchers in the MLB. Cal Quantrill, certainly with a bright future. He's younger. Julio Urias, the guy's got one eye. I mean, he closed out the World Series. Could have been an ace for any other team the last 4 years. He's been in the majors since he's 19. The Dodgers finally let him start. This is the first year they let him start, which is insane. He's been ready to start for literally 4 years. Stud. Luis, he was an ace. He was in Cy Young contention, 3-4 years ago, right?
Yeah, about 20.
But he's been injured and
18.
He's had, stuff since then. But hopefully this year, if he's healthy, he can get back to it, but he might never regain form. We'll see. Devin Williams, obviously, was a stud 2 years ago. He was good this year, but just not the same level.
Punched the wall.
What do you say?
He punched the wall, right? Is that him?
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Tony G, 30 tone. You're going to see all the Dodgers young pitchers here for me. I just think they're all great. And they are. They're all great. Jack Leiter.
I mean, I was waiting for this because you have Jack. I'm also going to talk about Kumar Rocker, who currently is not even signed to a contract. You're really playing the long game here.
I am. I had Jack. Did I draft Jack Leiter?
You did.
Yeah. I think you might have done a pickup after we.
Oh, no, yeah, you drafted Kumar Rocker in the 26th round.
Wow.
I think you picked him up off the waivers or free agent market after the draft.
Well, I drafted Kumar Rocker, which is
That shouldn't even be illegal. They weren't even drafted at that point. They were in college. That doesn't make any. He's not even on a team.
They were in a classroom when I drafted.
Yes.
They were. I remember after I drafted Kumar, I posted I have him on Instagram and he had posted shit in a classroom and I reposted oh, the man doesn't even know he just got drafted to my team. But yeah, I had Jack Leiter before he was even on the Rangers because I remember watching the draft, interested to see where they went because it mattered to me. I didn't like when Kumar went to the Mets. I didn't like their pitching. I didn't like their pitching development. Really. I wanted them to go to the Indians,
the Dodgers.
I mean, to be fair, the Mets do some good pitchers. There have been some good pitchers.
They have. Sean alluded to Kumar. I got Tristan McKenzie, another Cleveland young guy. I think he's going to be a stud. I really like his stuff. Long and lanky, very skinny. Hopefully he fills out into his frame, but he's got good stuff. No. Okay.
Keep him long and a little. He's like a slingshot.
Right. Trevor Rogers. I picked him up, which was an awesome pickup. He tailed off at the end because of innings limits, but he looked really good at the beginning of the year. In his full starts, he was really doing well. Christopher Sale. I think I picked him up after the draft because he was injured and I just added him right to the injury reserve. That's pretty filthy if you're asking me. He didn't do much for me this year, but he's only 32 and he is a stud, so maybe we'll get 1 or 2 more good years or flip him for something. Hushki. Strictly on my team because his name is Hushki. I do think he has a future. He had a grand slam this year, didn't he? I think he had a grand slam the day after I picked him up, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was that him? I do remember hearing something about it.
Hushker?
I don't think it's how Dan says it.
Yeah, no,
How do you say his last name? Yanoa? Oh, it was him? Oh, my. Unless it's him giving up a grand slam.
Oh, God. I forgot you were sharing the screen.
What is this? I don't like. Oh,
it's a sketchy thing. Does this even exist though? Aren't we in an MLB lockout? This is unheard of.
Oh! Go dead
That
center.
is
He's gonna go. It's a grand slam for
Yeah,
Reynolds.
that's just something else. Was that the series with Washington? Didn't Scherzer give up like a home run off of another young pitcher, like first ever at bat? They were like back and forth the whole game.
Reliever,
You know what I'm
too.
talking about? I think so. Something weird.
Yeah.
That was fun. Too bad that didn't count towards your fantasy.
No, it's unfortunate. And then Jordan Hicks. I've been high on Jordan Hicks. He's been on my regular Yahoo team for 4 years. He's never pitched. I think he throws 105, and it's just insane to me, and I like that stuff. That's my team. That took a long time, but that is my team.
That is the reigning champs team,
That is the team.
but not for long. Is all I just really want to say.
Well, what do we got next on the docket, Sean?
Well, we are.
Matt, are you reading that? How I'm reading it? Because it looks like Sean trades me Vlad live on the episode.
Yeah, it's weird because it says that he is gonna trade you. I think Sean must have wrote this too. I see he's already there. So Sean,
Yeah.
you're gonna trade in Vlad?
I don't think I wrote that down, but I'm always open to listen to some.
I'd love to hear something.
All right, let's.
You pull your team up there. Okay. Matt, you I guess you're here. You look at my team.
I'm gonna look at your team. I'm gonna have Sean's team on my other screen as well.
What were you going to show me? Kyle's ETA or something? Or
How far ago we are?
okay. So what are you thinking as far as time? Do you think there's something else we should do, or should we just end it with this?
I think we just go into this, so he's gonna tie it up.
Okay. Guys, that's not being cut. You watch that. Enjoy the back. You get to sit behind the scenes.
Behind the
It's
scenes.
exciting. It means I don't have to edit. It's exciting.
So I got my team pulled up here.
I got my team.
I got both.
I like it. Matt, what's the trade?
Alright, so I'll talk you through what I think is best for both teams, and then let's see what kind of offer Dan can make Sean. Because if I was Sean, I wouldn't be going out of my way to make a trade with Dan.
Exactly.
He went 8-14 last year, Matt. Though he obviously you can't win with one player. You know, you gotta diversify. You gotta get back to a championship win.
Okay, well let's see what we can do. So what I'm seeing on let's look on Sean's team. So what I'm seeing on Sean's team is catcher. He's fine. He's got enough platoon, and Adley's gonna come up. He's gonna do something good. I don't know how Salvador is good for here and now, but we'll see. First base, wow, great first baseman. Would love to have him on my team, but I see you really don't have much of a backup first baseman too. So if you're trading away Vlad, you're gonna need someone to play first, and you might need someone to also carry the load, especially so you get someone like Muncy. He's not. I mean, if Muncy gets hurt again, when's he coming back next year? I know he had the arm thing at the end of the season, so take that into consideration. And I think another place you could use a little bit more depth is third base, and yeah, you read that. There's third base, and I mean, obviously you could always use some more pitching. I mean, you do have some old people. Morton's 38, the Greinke's 38. He's probably got one more year left in him. Scherzer's 37, but that man's just a horse.
Yeah.
And hopefully Paddock turns out. Blake Snell is all over the place. Kirby H just had Tommy John, I believe. So you could use a little bit more help in the pitching aspect, I believe, if Dan wants to focus there. I would focus possibly at third base. I mean, obviously Johan's really just get into a nice groove, but you could always upgrade there. But I don't know if Dan has anything to give you for third base. And outfield, and then if you're doing Vlad, you need something to fill in for first base. So Dan, take all that into consideration. What do you got for him?
I was listening to what you were saying.
You did a great job. Great job.
I
hope so. That's what we want. Fantasy.
As I said, it's going to be really tough for me to trade Ross. However, I could give you Torkelson as a third base option, who I think might start this year, and if he doesn't, he'll be up halfway through the year. But that's also a risk because he hasn't played. But it depends how highly you rate Torkelson, like if you think he's going to be good or not. Obviously, Matt had alluded to need a little bit of outfield help. Ryan Reynolds could be someone I could throw in. Muncy, obviously, you would need a first baseman. So
Yeah.
I have to give you Max Muncy. There's no qualms there. If you wanted Trey, like Matt said, you're weak there. I don't know if you want Trey. If you wanted Trey, obviously I could throw him in. But if he doesn't help you at all, then
I don't know. What's the thing with Trey? As soon as he got onto the Dodgers, he significantly tailed off in all of his categories. Which I mean, it's just a small sample size, and he's a really good player. That would be something that would be weighing in my head, making a trade like that.
Makes sense. And then going into pitching, I did just thin out my pitching a little bit, but it depends on what kind of pitching you're looking for. If you're looking for pitching for right now for this season, Chris Sale, obviously I can move. If you're looking for the future, I could consider moving or even I can even move Severino for right now. I could consider moving. Obviously, you're not going to want people who aren't even there, but I can move like a Mckenzie. The only probably 3 people I really don't want to move are probably right here, and I could move my Clevenger, but I did hold them for.
If I had to help you a little bit, I would be looking for pitching, maybe younger pitching per se, because I have a lot of pitchers in their mid to upper 30s at this point.
So even I guess a Trevor Rogers is something that if he's probably my best young pitcher to me, other than Julio. Julio is probably the 6th guy that I really won't trade, just because the guy's got one fucking eye. I mean, it's all he has. I think that's something you gotta.
Wait, he actually has one eye?
One's like a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, like is infected.
I know he's got the glasses and stuff, right? But does he have one actual what?
Wow, you were. I don't know.
Like is it just one eye is messed up, or what?
Yeah.
Or he just literally just doesn't have an. Oh, he's not like Fetty Wap.
Yeah.
Oh, he really.
He's got one eye.
I've never seen him without the glasses, so that looked strange. It also felt strange.
Okay.
Which eye is it? Is it his left eye? His right eye?
His left eye,
Yeah.
His left eye. Okay, we're looking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to derail all that.
No, it's tough for me to move, is what I'm trying to say. So out of my young starting pitching, who I would say is Trevor Rogers, Mckenzie, and Hushki, I guess are my best young pitching. Who interests you the most?
Out of those, it'd probably be Trevor Rogers, if I'm being honest with you.
No, he's the best one for sure.
Yeah.
And is that someone who you think you would need or want?
Going forward, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of pitchers who, 38, 37. I mean, they're not for baseball much longer.
Gotcha. Okay. Would adding a guy like Trey Turner or Ozzie Albies help you? Or are you set at those positions and you don't need that?
Well,
because those are my biggest bats that I'm okay with moving on from, because I have depth there. So if you wanted either Trey or Ozzie, I would consider it.
I mean, at second base, I got Altuve. At short, I got Tatis. But as we said before, Tatis might be playing some outfield. I mean, Trey Turner can play some outfield.
Yeah. I think there's eligibility yet.
No. That's a tough one for me, because I feel like at those positions, I'm pretty well solidified.
Okay.
Especially considering I drafted Tatis with the first overall pick. I have a lot of stock riding in him, at least.
Yeah.
I don't want to really have to bump him out for any reason.
You do have a utility open if you were interested in Albies, because he could be your second baseman of the future.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 or 3 years when Altuve slows down. I don't know how long Altuve has. He might play till he's 40.
You make a good point. You do make a good point. You make a good point there.
But you have no one locked. I have Shohei, so my getting an extra player for me is so difficult because I can't use my utility.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're somewhat flexible there. If you just want another bat to use there,
Yeah.
and you could put Altuve or Albies.
So I like that, because you got to think about going from a 22-year-old locked all-star MVP caliber first baseman to now you have Max Muncy, who's really solid, a top player in his position, but he's 31 on a dying franchise like the Dodgers.
By the way, they missed the whole thing.
You invited me here, but But now, I mean, that just means that Sean's got to think about in the next 2 or 3 years. Sean's got to be thinking about what's he going to do at first base, and he's going to start looking into the drafting pool. What do the prospects look like at first base? I mean, Dom Smith isn't going to cut it in a few years. So, I mean, Ozzy making him feel really good at second base is something that's really nice because Jose is going to die soon, God willing. So I like that. I like that. That's something smart to think about.
I mean, I don't really want to trade Vlad Jr., but I know you. I know you want him, so I at least entertain offers. I will say this: any other players on my team who you are interested in and who you may be willing to make a deal with, excluding Vlad Jr. Like maybe Salvi Perez.
Oh, you mean like
No,
okay? You mean on your team or my team? That
on my team. I was just throwing it out there,
listen. He could be on your team.
He could be. He could be.
I mean, there's a way that like if you value Salvi, I value Salvi more than Adley, but we could add that in as like a bonus, like a small kicker for you, or like I could consider that. But then I wouldn't have a starting catcher right now, which is a little bit tough.
Yeah, I really don't want to give up Adley.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't really blame you. Who else do I mean, let's see.
I think Carson Kelly would be a really good get for you. Carson Kelly for Shohei, that's pretty fine, I think.
There's a couple thoughts. I mean, see, I like pitching too, which is tough, but you also want pitching. Like a guy like Buehler obviously stands out to me. A guy like Gossman obviously stands out to me. But even like it's kind of odd, but I think the risk reward based on how deep I think my roster is, I would take a flyer on a guy like Christian Yelich. I don't know where it's a very tough value because if you think he has any shot at being what he is, it's very tough to trade because it's like, what is he worth right now? I don't even know what he's worth.
Would you even value Yelich and value Yelich and Conforto similarly? Because I don't think Yelich is ever going to be MVP again, personally.
I would value Yelich higher than Conforto, in my opinion.
Okay.
I would value him. That's very. I couldn't value him as much as Brian Reynolds at this point.
No,
I think that would be silly. Because Brian Reynolds 4 years younger too, and just entering his peak.
On a great team though.
I would have to do research on Yelich too. Like look at like what, I guess some advanced stuff. It's tough.
I mean, I'm looking at the Yelich's stats right now, and boy, the past couple years have been ugly.
They have not been
ugly. He had 51 RBIs last year.
Yeesh.
9 home runs in 117 games, 475 plate appearances.
What was his average?
It was 248.
Man, that's so because he was always a high average guy, even if when he didn't home.
It was on the Marlins. I mean, he didn't hit below 280 until 2020 at 205, and then last year was 248.
That's steady improvement. 205 to 248.
Well, 205 was like 60 games. So.
No, it's a guy I would take a risk on, but I don't know.
Again, I drafted him so high. I don't know, maybe more selfishly than anything else, trying to show that I wasn't that much of an idiot. But there's part of me that believes he could, maybe not necessarily MVP caliber, but maybe closer to his Marlin days where he hit 280, struck out 115, 120 times, as opposed to what he has been doing.
Just a thought. That was just a thought out there.
I like that.
Are there any pitchers that you'd be willing to get rid of, or you're not trying to get rid of any pitchers?
I mean, I give like Zach Greinke, maybe Chris Paddock. That's probably it. I
Makes
don't
sense.
really want to give much.
That makes sense.
You probably could get high value, Sean, with Iglesias on Dan.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much Dan. I mean, yeah, I feel like Dan would like that.
Yeah.
What would you want from Dan?
Yeah.
Let me get back to my team here.
What do you want?
Well,
because you keep alluding to Salvi. I mean, you have 3 catchers on your team.
yeah. That was more of just a little poking fun at Dan a little bit here.
If I were to just say words out loud and say like Max Muncy and Ozzy Albies for Vlad, like what does that sound out loud to you? I don't even know how it sounds to me, but what does that sound like to you?
It sounds like no. No. Okay. But I do value Muncy and Alvarez quite a bit.
Okay.
However, I understand in second base I have Altuve and no real backup.
Well, you have Cattell. Let's not forget he can still play second base.
Guys, we have a surprise guest at the end of this podcast here. He is none other than the better brother in the Meyer family, and it's Kyle Meyer. How are we doing?
How's everybody doing?
I'm trying to get Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kyle.
Vladdy, that'd be a good pickup.
wouldn't be a bad. But it's still has to make it a tough one.
I don't want to get
Well, all right. Well, who's in the conversation?
I guess the weird offer I just threw out was Max Muncy and Ozzie Alvarez.
You're out of your mind. You throw in Alvarez, maybe.
It's gonna take a lot to get Vlad.
Yeesh.
Matt, how does it sound to you? Just so I can get an outside perspective. Like, if I were to make that trade, what would you think when you see it go through?
It kind of sounds fair. The only problem is it also doesn't. Like I said before, he's 22 years old.
Yeah.
Sean never has to think about a first base in his life again because he's got Vlad. And I mean, his second base is like I said, he's already got Cattell. If you want, he's gonna slide that in for Jose when Jose dies next year. And Muncy's on the older end. So I mean, it's a lot more than Sean has to work with, as much as it would hurt your team, and I'd love to see that. But also wouldn't enough. Who's your backup second baseman?
Mine?
No, Dan's. I'm sorry.
Trey Turner.
Oh, Trey Turner, of course. I wouldn't want to see Vlad.
As we
Should I
discussed.
address you as Sir Nuts?
Yeah, if you wanna.
I made a statement. I made a statement earlier in the podcast that I have the greatest second baseman in the league, and I just want to make sure I was being frank with everybody about that. Just frankly, just to be frank. I don't know. And look at you, Sean. Really, you're the worst team to trade with because you're right there. And look at you, Didi.
Hey, I'm still alive. I mean,
We're all right
I'm-
there. Oh. You got Ty France. He's that good too. Maybe I was sleeping on Ty France. Maybe I was
You're
sleeping.
sleeping. Wait, is this projected or is this last year's? Oh, I said Jonathan India on the what's it called, the little star thing?
Did you?
I think I did.
in India.
It looks like you were high on him at one point.
At one point, I guess.
Jorge Polanco coming in with more points than my own Brandon Lau. Oh my god!
This is last year, I guess, right?
This is what. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Now you get over yourself, Dan. How's that sound? You only got the top two or out of five.
I'm 2-4.
Polanco ahead of Lau. My God.
I know that's.
So I'm probably not going to get a deal done for Vlad.
No.
But guess what? I tried, guys.
You did.
I'm going to throw out my final offer, whatever it is, to end the pod, and I want you guys to vote down below. You think if Sean should have accepted it or not? But I don't think we're going to get one done. My final offer is Max Muncy, Ozzie Albies.
Yeah, you're gonna say.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Sean. What would happen if I did that? I have Vlad here, Trey would be here, and I had to figure out the outfield. That's my offer. Max Muncy, Ozzie Albies, and Brian Reynolds, all for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. All three for one.
That's how you want to make it a. I like that. You want to make it a three-way trade? I'll give you Randy Rosario.
Wait, me or him?
Randy Rosario has cancer. I don't know if you've heard. He died 3 days ago, and Matt's not telling anybody. He's trying to get anything he can for that guy.
Rookie of the year, baby.
Rookie of the year. All right, anyway, so let me hear the trade one more time.
Max Muncy, Ozzie Albies, Brian Reynolds, all for Vlad. I was thinking about throwing in a pitcher. I'll throw in Luis Severino if it does anything for you. I'll throw in Luis. That's a 4-player.
Give me Kumar Rocker.
I can't. That's too much value. He's going to be signed to a team eventually.
That's a no. I mean, that's a very fair trade. It absolutely is. I just can't give up Vlad Jr.
Okay. And guys, honestly, it sometimes it takes throwing a boat at somebody to realize, get to their heart. Like at the end of the day, he just wants Vlad. And sometimes it doesn't matter the package you give back. I could give him my whole fucking team, probably be like, well, I just want Vlad. And honestly, I respect that as a man. I do. Vlad is a good
I
player.
think our hands made the camera. There we go.
I think this is a fun league that we'll have going forever because like these guys will be on our teams. Like I hope when we talk about players in Major League Baseball, we don't talk about them on the Yankees. We talk about them like, oh, do you see what Vlad did? Like Sean's team's killing it. Like I hope they become part of us instead of part of the major leagues, which is kind of cool. Like I view Devers as like my guy, which is awesome, as well as Ohtani. But I guess that's it. Sean's an asshole. He wouldn't give me Vlad. What are you gonna do? Matt, you got anything to say? Because I'm flustered.
I like what you said about the teams and the players being ours and stuff. That's why I really don't like Rafael Devers. Not because he's a Red Sox, it's because he's your player.
Yeah.
But that's really it. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. I think going forward, I'm gonna do something like a Hall of Fame. So like when players retire, if they go to the Hall of Fame, like we think they go to the Hall of Fame for your team, they can make your team's Hall of Fame. And then, Corey Seager will eventually retire as a Red Hot. And I can't wait to put the cap on. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. I'm done. Sean, do your thing.
All right. As always, follow us on Instagram at the 10th inning. He's gonna put it down below. There we go. We're not usually together here. YouTube, it's also gonna be down below. Like, subscribe, leave comments on the videos if you guys want to see us cover anything. Talk on any topics, players, anything you want. Do you like my hat? Do you like DD's nuts hat? Just put that in the comments. I mean, how could you not like these hats? These are fantastic. Yeah.
So if I threw in Trevor Rogers though, and let's say I were to throw him in, just throw him in Trevor Rogers.
With on top of the other three guys?
On top of everybody. Luis Severino, Trevor Rogers. 6-1 we're at, Matt. Thank you for the counter.
6 for 1? Oh my God. Boys, thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to this baseball season if it ever happens.
Love to have you on again.
Yeah, we'll have you on if you can next week because we didn't get to after shit we were going to, which is pretty much the classic of how this podcast goes. Hopefully, maybe this guy will be here again next week to make more than just a guest appearance.
Yeah.
We'll be playing some games next week, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll be playing some games, so stick around for that. We might even have more guests. Might have your coach, Leif might come on, even Mike Johnson. We might get a party next week. We might have nobody. But stay tuned. You'll find out next week. I love you all.